Hi guys, good day to everyone on my TikTok page. My topic this morning is unhealthy toxic relationship. Some people experience toxic relationship. They may experience or encounter SA, DV, which are sexual abuse or domestic violence. Some people may have a traumatizing childhood where they experience some form of trauma or some form of ACEs. And these people, they tend to be a statistics, whereas they may want an abuser to be in a relationship with when they become an adult. So meaning, some people who have been a victim of abuse, when they become an adult, they sometimes may want to be in a relationship with an abusive partner or abusive spouse. Unhealthy toxic relationship can lead to a lot of issues. It can affect you in a psychological way, and also it can affect you in your physical body, whereas you can be susceptible to getting high blood pressure, certain chronic diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and the list goes on. Because being in a toxic relationship is very stressful. Your body is trying to cope with that type of environment, that toxic environment. And some people, they experience that type of childhood trauma when they are an adolescent, or maybe when they experience some form of toxic relationship when they have became an adult. Now, there are 3 pillars that I would like you all to know that they can help you all if you have encountered or experienced some form of abuse. They are the mindset, they are the inner work, and they are the body work. So basically, you need to change your mindset. Earlier this week, I spoke about recognizing your trauma, recognizing the hurt, recognizing your abuser. Because some people, when they have gone through some form of abuse, they don't like to confront the fact that they have gone through that abuse. They like to ignore the abuse and ignore the abuser. Now, don't misunderstand or misconstrue what I am saying. When you are confronting the abuse and confronting the abuser, you are acknowledging the fact that you have gone through that abuse. And you are first recognizing it by going and speaking with a clinical psychologist. And you're going to explain to that clinical psychologist, whether it may be a he or she, you're explaining how you felt traumatized. You're explaining the experience, how it made you feel, how you felt. You also will have to call the name of the abuser. And I understand that some of your abuser may be a family member. And some of you all probably was told by family to protect that family member. But by keeping all that hurt inside of you, is not doing any good to you. And I have explained to you all earlier this week in my various videos about passing intergenerational trauma from generation to generation. So basically, if you are experiencing some form of trauma or some form of hurt or some form of abuse, you can pass that on to your children genetically. So you first need to go through the process of 3 pillars. The mindset, you change your mind, you change the way that you think, you seek help, you recognize your abuse, you acknowledge that you have been abused, and therefore you're going to seek help, you're going to get some help. Then you're going to do some inner work. Within the inner work, you're going to separate the negative thoughts from the positive thoughts. You're going to work on yourself. Yesterday I spoke about women being the throat, black women. I spoke about women being resilient, self-love, doing the work on you, inner work, not external work. Because what people tend to do, they tend to only work on the outer or the external part of their body. And what about the inner part? They neglect the inner part of their body. So the outside looks beautiful, but the inside is rotting. It is rotting. Because it's hurting. It's experiencing some form of trauma, some form of hurt. And you have not yet dealt or confront that hurt or that trauma. Then you need to do body work by exercising, eating a healthy diet. So the 3 pillars are mindset, inner work, and body work. And some of you all may experience some form of childhood wounds. And there are 5 childhood wounds. These wounds are abandonment, abuse, betrayal, rejection, and shame. Some of you all probably or maybe encounter some form of abandonment when you were a child. You experienced some form of abandonment or neglect from both parents or probably one of your parents. And sometimes we know that there is a high statistics of fatherless homes where the father have abandoned their children or child. Being abandoned can really be traumatizing. Just imagine you came into this world and you have not even met your father. You don't know who your father is. You never had an encounter with him. You never had a relationship with him. He abandoned you. Some mothers abandon their children. Then you may experience some form of abuse, whether it was an SA or some form of DV, some type of abuse. Then you may probably experience some form of betrayal from probably your family members. It could be a friend. Someone betrayed you. Rejection. What about rejection? Some parents reject their children. Yeah. Some parents reject their children. And then you experience shame. Some people, when they have gone through abuse, whether it was sexual abuse, which is SA, or domestic violence, they are feeling ashamed to actually talk about it because they feel ashamed. So the 5 childhood wounds are abandonment, abuse, betrayal, rejection, and shame. So firstly, you acknowledge and recognize that you have gone through abuse. You seek help, therapeutic help. And then you go through the healing process so that you can pass on healthy thoughts to the upcoming generations. So therefore, you break the cycle. You break the cycle of generational trauma. You break the cycle of intergenerational trauma. It starts with you. By firstly seeking help. The 3 pillars: mindset, the inner work, and body work. And then acknowledging that you went through or gone through abandonment, abuse, betrayal, rejection, and shame. But first seek help. Professional help.